Director of Career Services and Professional Development for the Jonsson School. And I'm so excited today. We have Bruno from Intertek, and he's going to talk to us about his background and just some really cool industry trends that we all need to know. So let's just dive right in. Let's get to know Bruno. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your professional background.
Hi, Lacey. Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. I'd love to jump into it. So, my name is Bruno. I'm currently the operations manager for Intertek Electrical of both our Lexington, Kentucky, and Plano, Texas location. So, Intertek is a leading total quality assurance provider to industries worldwide, offering innovation and bespoke assurance, testing, inspection, certification services for the operations and supply chain of our customers. So I've been with Intertek for about 10 years now in a variety of roles, ranging from senior project engineer to my current position as operations manager.
Nice.
Previously from Intertek, I was actually with Sandon International, and I was there for about 10 years in a variety of positions from entry level design engineer all the way to my last role there as a senior engineer, working some special projects with both our engineering department and salespeople. And it was a great learning experience. So,
Yeah.
as far as education, I've got my BS in mechanical engineering, and then I got my MS from UTD in systems engineering and business, which is a great opportunity, a great course offered. And I've got my PhD in business.
Nice.
Other some certifications, I've got my PE professional engineer in mechanical engineering, focusing on mechanics and machined, as well as a functional safety practitioner, which is a really unique certification, which I'd love to go into more details. As people would like to know, just let me know and I'll be more than glad to share about it.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. That is a lot of work. You've been a busy man.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk to the audience a little bit about what you do from day to day. So just give us some examples or outline of what your day looks like.
Sure, yeah, I'd love to. So, my day to day really is focused on supporting Intertek's vision to be the world's most trusted partner for quality assurance. So, what that means is that in our Lexington and Plano laboratories, we focus on the electrical safety of products to ensure public safety.
Hmm.
So, in that, I look to facilitate how to do this in our offices, right? So that takes on a variety of different roles, a variety of different actions, right? So with our customers, I look to partner with them to explore their needs, see how we can help them, see how we can not only meet their expectations, but also the market's expectations for the products that they're developing and that they're selling. Internally, I work with engineers and a variety of different folks to provide mentoring and guidance, both technically, professionally, and any other areas that they look to grow in that I can help them and explore. And overall, I look to ensure the overall success of that laboratory. So, what does that mean? That means ensuring the success of the individuals that are in the laboratory, making sure that they're learning, they're growing, and they're developing in a way that they would like their careers to develop in. Also, that includes ensuring the overall quality. So, what we do, which is ensuring public safety, we have to make sure that the quality of their work is there and that everything that we touch meets the highest level of quality standards. We look to make sure the safety of the laboratory is there. You know, Intertech is very focused on the environmental aspect with
Nice.
a lot of programs looking to reduce emissions and get towards that net zero for a corporation. So we focus a lot of projects internally to try to meet that. And lastly, I also want to make sure that the laboratory is in a strong financial footing. So I try to work with the engineers, vendors, customers to make sure that we can make the laboratory financially successful to be able to support all these other initiatives that we're trying to accomplish within the laboratory for the individuals.
That's amazing. Yeah, you've got the customers, you've got your employees, you've got safety and finances. So that is a lot of responsibility, a lot of hats that you wear. Um, what changes do you see in the industry today, and what do you think students should be learning to be prepared for these types of changes?
That's an excellent question. A lot of what I see relates to technology, and technology is ever expanding, right? Sometimes, I joke around that, I was cleaning my office and I found a 3.5 inch floppy disk, and someone said, "Oh, cool, you 3D printed the save symbol," right? So for some of us, we knew that that was an essential piece of hardware when we were going to school or
Yeah.
other, right? But the key takeaway is technology is ever expanding, and as it continues to grow, technology is going to integrate not only within our design and testing obligations, but it's also going to integrate in the day-to-day lives of the general public and corporations. So one of the big takeaways I see for students is, to some degree, the need to embrace technology and also start thinking about creative ways on how to integrate technology to the day-to-day task, to the different roles, right? Because as things become more complex, or the functions that we're looking for devices to do become more complex, technology is going to serve as the bridge between the product that we're trying to bring into existence and the needs and functions of that product are only going to be bridged and executed as technology integrates more into the day-to-day lives and the products.
Mhm. So being able to adapt to the new technologies as well as incorporate older technologies, you have to be flexible, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so what are your top three success tips that you would give students going into your industry?
Yeah, and that's a great question. So I've followed these three from day one. It was given to me, and I'm glad I'm able to share it. And these 3 points really helped guide a lot of the decisions I've made, both academically as well as professionally. But the first one is, be passionate for the industry and the mission that you're serving. Right. Oftentimes, when you start a job, you can think about it as just being a job or a stepping stone or something. And sometimes before you know it, that stepping stone turns into something that you're doing for 10, 15 plus years, right? So make sure you're passionate for the industry, because a lot of times, especially in engineering, the industry you start with is really going to set the direction for what's to come in the future, right? And it's totally acceptable to change missions, change industries, change what you want to do, right? And that's part of growth and self-exploration. But be passionate about what you're doing, because your passion is going to come across on the work that you do, the products that you touch, and also the people that you interact with, right? If you're passionate about something, you're never going to work a day in your life. You're always going to love it. And the other item is, especially when you're starting, it's really easy to fall into a kind of trap of just doing the function and doing what you're asked to be done, right? And obviously that's important, but more importantly than that is, understand the why. Why are you doing this? Why are we doing it this way versus another way? Right? Asking those questions, because as you start asking those, you start growing and developing, and you start sponging in the knowledge that exists from people who've been around for 20, 30, 40 plus years, right? So understand the why, not just the how to do something, but the why we're doing it. And the last one is, don't ever get comfortable, right? Challenge yourself to do something new. Challenge yourself to different opportunities. Challenge yourself to different roles and tasks, right? One of the most challenging things I've ever had to do was step out of a pure engineering role into a sales and marketing role for a short time. And it was very uncomfortable. It was something I wasn't used to, stepping into a room full of salespeople and connecting with them and trying to grow that, right? But when you put yourself in a situation that you're not comfortable, whether it's technology, position, industry, right? When you put yourself out there, that's when you learn the most and you really start growing and building yourself, right? And a lot of those opportunities often lead to future opportunities, right? If you had asked me, would I see myself as an operations manager 20 years earlier? Probably not. But the accumulation of all my experiences and stepping out of my comfort zone really has developed a great opportunity and a great career.
That's awesome. I love the passionate part and challenging yourself because I do think we can get a little complacent over time. So staying engaged, willing to learn new things and stepping outside of your comfort zone is all really, really good advice. Thank you so much for sharing that. Okay, last question, and we can wrap up. Is anything beyond the degree? Like what certifications would you recommend?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So, this is the fourth one if we had one, but always be learning, right? A couple of items that I recommend from a technical perspective is your PE. So, I would absolutely recommend in your senior year, your last semester, go ahead, sign up for the FE exam, get that process going, right? It's a mark of professional distinguishment to have your FE and also to be working towards your PE. It's a great differentiator. And also, too, it really aligns with one of the core tenets of engineering that we want to have the highest level of safety, the highest level of quality. And a PE is a distinguished certificate that shows that you've gone through the challenges of not only academically challenging yourself, but also professionally challenging yourself to earn that distinguishment. The other one is always pursue other degrees, whether it's your master's degree, whether it's your PhD, always be learning and advancing. And it's a great opportunity to really stretch yourself and to further differentiate yourself from other engineers and even stepping out into different disciplines, whether it's an MBA, always be open to learn and to grow. And the one I really recommend, which I think is super important that it really doesn't get often talked about, is your functional safety practitioners. So, functional safety is all around us and is really born out of a tragedy, really, back in the 1980s. But functional safety looks at the complexities of safety in a fail safe. So this certificate came about actually from a oil refinery accident named Piper Alpha, where unfortunately just a little bit under 300 people lost their lives. And when they did a root cause, it was actually an engineering fault to be able to actually detect a very critical situation that was happening, and functional safety was born out of that. So, functional safety is everywhere. For example, people have developed autonomous vehicle. Well, there's functional safety in there to make sure that if you're in a situation, how do you prioritize a critical situation, right? Or the aerospace industry, functional safety is there in all of those. So it's certainly a very worthwhile pursuit. Not too many people know about it, but it is a cross-discipline certificate that I highly recommend people looking into and seeing if it's a right certificate for them.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for all of your information today. I found it very informative, and I know that the students will be glad to hear from you. So thank you for your time, and we appreciate it.
Perfect. Thank you, Lacey.